When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Life is too short for long-term grudges. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. If something's important enough, you should try. Even if the probable outcome is failure. I would like to die on Mars. Just not on impact. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. I always invest my own money in the companies that I create. I don't believe in the whole thing of just using other people's money. I don't think that's right. I'm not going to ask other people to invest in something if I'm not prepared to do so myself. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. I think there should be regulations on social media to the degree that it negatively affects the public good. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. If you go back a few hundred years, what we take for granted today would seem like magic, being able to talk to people over long distances, to transmit images, flying, accessing vast amounts of data like an oracle. These are all things that would have been considered magic a few hundred years ago. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. I think you should always bear in mind that entropy is not on your side. Great companies are built on great products. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. There's a silly notion that failure's not an option at NASA. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I will never be happy without having someone. Going to sleep alone kills me. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high pain threshold. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. I really do encourage other manufacturers to bring electric cars to market. It's a good thing, and they need to bring it to market and keep iterating and improving and make better and better electric cars, and that's what's going to result in humanity achieving a sustainable transport future. I wish it was growing faster than it is. There have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? If the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that incredibly depressing. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. If you're entering anything where there's an existing marketplace, against large, entrenched competitors, then your product or service needs to be much better than theirs. It can't be a little bit better, because then you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. You're always going to buy the trusted brand unless there's a big difference. If humanity doesn't land on Mars in my lifetime, I would be very disappointed. To make an embarrassing admission, I like video games. That's what got me into software engineering when I was a kid. I wanted to make money so I could buy a better computer to play better video games, nothing like saving the world. The problem is that in a lot of big companies, process becomes a substitute for thinking. You're encouraged to behave like a little gear in a complex machine. Frankly, it allows you to keep people who aren't that smart, who aren't that creative. We're already cyborgs. Your phone and your computer are extensions of you, but the interface is through finger movements or speech, which are very slow. Tesla is here to stay and keep fighting for the electric car revolution. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. Self-driving cars are the natural extension of active safety and obviously something we should do. When I was a child, there's one thing I said: I never want to be alone. That's what I would say. I don't want to be alone. A company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only as good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. The United States is definitely ahead in culture of innovation. If someone wants to accomplish great things, there is no better place than the US. We can't have, willy-nilly proliferation of fake news. That's crazy. You can't have more types of fake news than real news. That's allowing public deception to go unchecked. That's crazy. If you don't have sustainable energy, you have unsustainable energy. The fundamental value of a company like Tesla is the degree to which it accelerates the advent of sustainable energy faster than it would otherwise occur. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. If you want to watch more video on YouTube, then please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon.